And good Tuesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Ahead of us is severe weather. Now, we'll get into this in just a moment and do the breakdown of what to expect, the timelines that we know now. And keep in mind that the timelines will change a little bit. One of the most common questions that we're going to get here in just a little bit is going to be, are there any closings? As of right now, there are no closings. But if you happen to have one, or if you're taking preparations to close early, please let us know. Inbox us. You can email us at scottyray1969@aol.com, or just simply send us an inbox on Facebook or in YouTube. We'll be glad to take those and get those posted of what's coming up. Again, we're going to give you the complete rundown of that. I do want to mention this as we start this morning of things that are going on. I want you to keep someone in your thoughts and your prayers, because this is just one of those things that is just horrible to happen. As we learned that there was a fire overnight in the city limits of Meridian. As we look at this, let me pull this up of where we've got this morning. This would be in the 2100 block of 22nd Avenue is where this happened. Total loss for a home. The American Red Cross has been called to come in and help the family with the situation. As you go to the map here to take a look here, this is where we're looking at. This would be 22nd Avenue. This is 24th. It would be just due east of there, in that area there, that this family lost their home. They did make it to safety. That is the good news. And we're going to go deep into your weather next and give you all the forecast of what to expect. This could be a significant weather day. Do not underestimate this. We're going to talk about it more in detail here in just a moment, as we'll do that next. Right now, let's head out to Collinsville and let's find out a little bit more from Collinsville Baptist, about getting the job done.
Have you ever felt inadequate when asked to do something? I've been on construction mission projects before where I've been asked to do something I've never done, and I think, man, I can't do that. But I found that if I ask the right questions, use the right tools, or ask the right people to help me, I can usually get the job done. We may feel inadequate when we think about being a disciple of Jesus. When we read in Matthew 10 about how Jesus sent out the disciples to heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, and cast out demons, we might think, I could never do anything like that. Well, we haven't been called to do those things. But in Matthew 10, 6 and 7, Jesus sent the 12 out to go rather to the lost sheep of Israel and proclaim as you go, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Jesus told them first to proclaim the gospel. That's something we're all called to do. Jesus told His first disciples they would have all they would need to do what they were sent to do. As Jesus sends us, we can know the same. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And as always, we need good words to start the day, don't we? A great church. If you don't have a church, they'd love to see you tomorrow night or on Sunday. As I mentioned, we have extremely upgraded our weather concern for today to where we were looking at a level 3. We are now at a level 4. Let's go to Meridian Honda radar to let you see this. This is where we are. This is what we're looking at this morning. You see this red area? This is potential for long track tornadoes that could happen today. Lauderdale County is in this. The extreme eastern side is not. But anywhere from Natchez to Vicksburg to Tupelo to Meridian to Greenville in the Mississippi Delta, severe weather is expected. And again, this is one of those, it's not, well, we think it could. This is a very, very large threat. Now, this area here is a level 3, very serious too, as we look at this, as we've gone through those before, which means it can also, anything can happen. Now, let's look at the breakdown and let me tell you what the differences are. This red area here, we can see significant severe weather, tornadic supercells that could produce strong tornadoes. Again, some of these could be significant and long tracked. And when we talk about that, that's anywhere miles upon miles long. Damaging winds of 80 miles an hour. The size of the hail could be golf ball to tennis size in this area here in the red. Do you live in that area? We're going to talk about those in just a second. Now, this shaded area, what we'll call a peach? Maybe orangish peach color. That is a level 3 enhanced risk. You could have damaging winds of 70 miles an hour. Tornadoes are very possible in this area also. Some could be strong. Quarter-sized to golf ball size hail included in this. Now, if you look right here, we have a different shade here. It's kind of an orangish looking. We have already gotten a flash flood watch issued for Clark County as we look at this, and we go over to Jasper County through Jones County, these areas around Hattiesburg. You could see 1 to 3 inches of rain in those areas. Now, that's how we're starting today out. All of this will change a little bit as the day goes, and we'll have different updates as to what's going on with the weather. Now, let's zoom in on this and look at this a little bit closer of what we're expecting and look at some of these locations that could be affecting you today. As we look at this, let's get closer here. Where are the lines in Lauderdale County? This is going to cut across basically at Dunn's Fall. Now, whether you live here or on this side of that tornado is not going to know the difference. So I want to make very clear that saying that you live on this side or that side of the line does not change the seriousness of the weather. What I'm telling you is the majority of the county is in this level 4, which could mean very, very bad weather. All of Newton County, most of Jasper is included in this. Let's look at Lauderdale, and then we'll back out and look at the rest of this. Again, this will cut across Lauderdale County right here at Dunn's Fall, move up and cross right here at Plant Sweat, and then move right over to the big church on top of the hill. Our friends there at the Evangel Temple is the line. It will then go from there to the Ag Center and then go due north straight up through here, just barely a few miles to the west of Lauderdale, Mississippi. NAS Meridian included in this, Northeast High School. And again, this could push a little further east as the day progresses. So again, don't pay attention to which side of these lines you live on and think, well, it can't hurt me because there's no red over here. That's not the case. As we move into Kemper County, this will follow right on the edge of Highway 45. It'll be just to the west of there, taking in the Cowboy Church. All of Scuba will be involved in this, and it will make it just past Briggs 5 Point, right out here, to about Dozer Lane is where that would be. As we follow this up, only the eastern side of Noxubee County won't be included in this. This is just a few miles here as you go into Noxubee County and then on into Lowndes County in this area. But as we back out and look at this, all of the Louisville area, Winston County, the majority of Noxubee County included in this. Kosciuszko, you're included in this. We see that Carthage, the entire area here, all of Neshoba County included in this level 4. As we move south, we see Scott County, you're involved in this. Also, all of Newton County. Now, this could turn very serious quickly. As we go here to Jasper County, let's look at the line here so you'll see this. This will go taking in Silverina, just shy of reaching Mize and Taylorsville. Basically, right here the line at the Jasper General Hospital, and it will cut across due northeasterly across the county, and it will reach the Rose Hill Post Office. That is the area. Everything west of there is at level 4. Again, I just can't say it enough about the differences in between 3 and 4 when a tornado comes through. It will not know the lines. This is just a projected path that we think more serious weather will be here than here. Doesn't mean it can't happen here. Again, these areas here, Butler, Alabama, y'all be ready. This stretches at level 3 over to Demopolis, taking in Livingston, York, Utah, Alabama. If you live there today, pay close attention. Now, the timeline that we're looking at this point should be 3 p.m. until about 4 a.m. Alabama will push it by about an hour, 4 p.m., and then until 5 a.m. roughly in the morning. Again, we'll get another update before too long, and the timelines could change just a little bit, but bet your boots we have bad weather coming. You will probably see a lot of the storm chasers in the area here in the next little bit, moving to our areas to set up camp and be ready to roll when the weather breaks out. They originally had moved into the Memphis area and thinking it was going to be more this way. As this is shifted through the nighttime hours, we're right in the middle of this. All you folks up at West Point, if you've got kids that go to Mississippi State, make sure to be in touch with them and make sure that they have a weather plan in place today to know where to go should this become a problem here in the Starkville area. Now, this will go on up to Amory, Houston area, Tupelo, Verona, and those areas. They're back over here. We come across Big Creek, Bruce, Mississippi. Just barely reaching shy of Water Valley. Coffeyville is going to be involved in this. The Mississippi Delta could very well be involved with some serious weather. It was at one point, this is where everything was expected right here from Yazoo City to Greenwood. And again, it shifted a little bit more east as you'll look at the big map here. Now, again, if you're not quite sure what area that you live in, you're more than wanting to know where you live and what your area is, you're more than welcome to send us an inbox, and we'll do our best to explain that to you of where you live if you're not sure on a map. Some people get confused over a map, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So just let us know if you need a little help determining where you are and what that weather means for you. We'll be glad to explain that. Now, we're going to look deeper into this in just a moment. Let's go ahead and pull up the National Weather Service, what they're telling us today. Look at the highs and lows in their maps. Then we'll come back and look at my radar system of what is expected today.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
And a big thank you to EMEPA being a part of that. Something about that just does not look right. We've had a ghost go through the system overnight. I'll have to get that worked out here in just a little bit. I don't know what happened to that. But I'll explain it as we go without the pictures on the screen. Something new always has a different take every day, doesn't it? I worked with bugs all day yesterday. Looks like I got a new one to fix today. Our record high was set in 1949 on this date. It was 81 degrees. Our record low was set back in 76. I was entering first grade out at Northeast High School. Never forget it, 22 degrees, me in my blue coat. It was a cold day. I can remember that one. We're expecting rain today. The high should reach about 74 here in Meridian as we go north through Philadelphia and go up Highway 15 there. As we reach our way to Louisville, we're looking at about 72. And the closer you get to Mississippi State, Starkville area, it should be around 70. To the south, warmer in Hattiesburg, 75 is what we're expecting there. Back over to Natchez, 75 on that western side of the state as you come into the state. As we go down further toward the coast, it'll be a little bit warmer. And the further south you go, the more rain we're expecting down there. Clark County, y'all be ready for this Wayne County rain event. As we jump across the Bama state line again, the heaviest of weather is going to be just barely into western Alabama there. Demopolis, these areas there around York will be included in this. And then east of there, the weather not quite as bad. Good news for you folks there. 75 expected in Demopolis. We'll see 74 in the big city of Livingston, Alabama. 73 Tuscaloosa. And a little bit cooler over at Birmingham expected to be about 71 today. Be ready for this. And if you've got to travel 20, always remember, after 3 o'clock with this rain, very dangerous is what we've got. As we pull this up, and again, I'll hit this button again, but I don't think it's going to show it correctly. No, it's not. Just out of whack. For some reason. Our area is there 3 p.m. on this Mississippi side to 4 a.m. I've read a couple of things of what the National Weather Service is telling us that we could have some very serious stuff way into that dark time area there. We'll get a more defined picture. We could have some bad stuff early, and then again right there at midnight as it pushes into the early morning hours. I'll know more in a little bit as we get updates on this weather from the latest from the folks who know it all, who study this every day. We'll be on top of it. But again, we've got the edge of Alabama at a level 3, and then further east as we get on further over, it will be a level 2 into Alabama. The Meridian area, for the most part, west of downtown Meridian is a level 4, and then to the east of the Bama state line is a level 3. Flash flooding is likely today. And again, Clark County is at an elevated threat. That and the portions of southeastern, the southern portion there of Jasper County. Then when you get into Laurel, you get into Waynesboro and these areas there, serious rain is going to fall in those areas. The Meridian area, Newton County, Philadelphia, Scott County, on up to Kosciuszko in these areas is a level 2 is what we've got for today. Now, as we look at severe weather, let's look at this at that Alabama side. As I mentioned before, they've pushed theirs like an hour difference. Sometimes it's 2 hours difference, but this time they're looking in Alabama through Tuscaloosa, right at Birmingham, from 4 p.m. until 2 a.m. So they'll cut back the Mississippi side to where they're right now saying to 3 p.m. because Alabama's a little bit further east. So we're probably looking at that midnight to 1 a.m. As I just mentioned there a moment ago. Around midnight, we could get another little bad cell there. We'll let you know on that before long. As you move over to the eastern side of Alabama, it'll be somewhere between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. as daylight comes about there. All right, as we look at this, we've got temperatures, and I know the screen is bright. I've got that on to make sure I can see all these little landmarks, and we'll dim that a little bit there to make sure that you understand what's going on and you can see a little bit better. I know it's bright up in here with that on. What we've got temperature-wise right now, Mississippi and Alabama, the deep south, is in an extreme heat wave. It's at 74 today. That's why we've got bad weather moving in. We always have our second round of our second yearly rounds in November and December for tornadic activity. It is going on now. And today, always at the end of the month, it's almost clockwork. We get bad weather, and we've got that today. We do have a cool front way back out in California that will slowly make its way here another week or so before we see those temperatures. As we look at today, 74 for the high tonight, down to 54, 80% chance of rain is what we're looking at. 66 for a high tomorrow with a low of 33. We're going to go from hot to start dipping down. We'll have Thursday the high of only 55, but it goes back up. This cool weather moves out, and then the temperatures shoot back up until we get that next cool front. We got 74 all the way through the weekend, 72, 70 on Sunday, 74 coming up next Monday. Now, let's go on into all the way to December the 13th and look at what we've got. The change will come on December the 8th, as we'll have 74 degrees on the 6th, and then it drops to 60-something on the 7th, and then about the 8th, we'll drop to temperatures only making it into the 50s for our area. We'll hover around that 50-degree weather all the way through the 13th as we look for those outlooks. Fishing weather today looks like it was right at daylight. It's about ending now for the major time. You'll have another chance late this afternoon, but I don't think you'll want to be out in that. We'll have a good time to fish around 5, but the weather will be too severe to be near any water. Average day, southwest wind 5 to 15 miles an hour, gust of 25. The earlier you go, the safer it is. Might want to hold off on that fishing today. All right, let's go back to radar and pull this up, and let's look at where we've got now. Let's go back to Meridian Honda radar, and let's turn this off of the severe weather so you can see what we've got on radar at this point. As you see right now, there's absolutely nothing happening. This is what we were looking at here. This is our flash aerial flood watch that's already been issued until 6 a.m. in the morning. Expecting a lot of rain there. Down in Biloxi on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, they have an aerial flood watch and a dense fog advisory already there. As we back out and we wait for these storms to arrive. Radar not really showing anything right now. A few showers around Hot Springs. We also have a little bit around Natchez to the northwest of there. Nothing major at this point. This will be one of those storms when it comes, she comes, and it will be ugly and nasty. There's no other way to word this. We want you to be on your P's and Q's as we go through all of this weather system throughout today and monitor the weather for you. As we said, we're really expecting some supercells to come with this, and we get into these long tracks. Do y'all remember a few years ago when we had that long track that started in the Louisville area there? It was a bad one, moved toward Alabama. That is what we talk about when it comes to long tracks. This could return again today. A lot of times this is way away from us, but today it has picked our corner of the world. Let's turn this back on so you're looking at what I'm looking at here. As we look at tomorrow, it will change that as we turn off today and you take a look. It will be far to our east. Light chance of showers there. And this really downgrades to a level 1 for the most part all the way to Georgia and into the Carolinas for tomorrow. But as we go back today, if you're just tuning in, waking up, this is what we're expecting here. Now, I want you to keep in mind when we talk about this bad weather, and I always say have a weather plan. And I mean this. Don't let this go out one ear and out the other. If you've got a NOAA weather radio and you never keep it plugged up, today is the day to plug that back in. It's very loud. It's very obnoxious. And it's done that way for one reason only, to get your attention, to know that severe weather is coming. Once that happens, tune in to us, whether it's here at YouTube or Facebook. We will probably help out the television as well today to let you know where the latest is. We got moved into our new studio. Had Sanders Gas come make absolutely sure everything was hooked up between the generator, the gas lines, that we will switch to that when power is lost. We will most likely lose power late this afternoon after it gets dark in these areas. Now, let's go back to having a weather plan. Know where you're going to go. If a warning is issued for your area, know in a moment's notice where you're going. Sometimes you don't get a lot of notice. Fortunately, with the way that the weathers have changed, the way they're issued, you get a few minutes now. Not always, but a lot of times just enough time to go to where you need to go to safety. Do you have a storm shelter? If you don't, contact a friend. Maybe spend the night with someone who does have one. If you live in a mobile home and you're in this red area, I don't suggest staying there. Now, as we look at this, I've always talked about helmets, especially your young children. What happens when a tornado hits? It hits your home, you're thrown. Head injury, trauma is what kills most people from tornadic activity, and we don't want that to happen to you. I know it looks silly to be walking around with a football helmet on or a bike helmet, but it does protect a motorcycle helmet. It protects your head. Put that on. Now, the next thing that you want to do is when you go into this, wear hard-sole shoes. And what I mean by that, something thick like work boots. Why? Because if your home is hit by a tornado, there's nails everywhere. It will damage your feet, so be prepared for this. We've had some very bad weather before hit our areas. These are just little bitty things. Have flashlights handy, because as I mentioned, we most likely will be without power. We'll be in close contact with EMEPA to let you know what's going on with this and where they are with repairs, but expected they're on standby already. They'll have meetings this morning to discuss a weather plan to be ready for what comes about. I don't want anybody to take this lightly. This is a very, very serious weather event. I'd love to be wrong. You make fun of me if you want to. I'd rather that happen and you be safe. We'll be here throughout this ordeal to let you to know what happens. We'll be live. We'll walk through this. I'll try to line up, and it always depends upon what time it hits as to how much help I can get to let you know where things are happening all the way around us. When it's in the wee hours of the morning, it's hard to wake up other folks and go, hey, be on standby. We'll be in touch with the local sheriff's department. We'll be on top of this with Ward. Keeping track of roads and byways. We'll also be in touch with Lima to let you know there. Now, again, we don't have any closings. I'm going to be asked that a lot. I had a few messages about that earlier this morning. At this point, nothing is closed. Unless the time changes really quickly, I don't see a school closing because it's going to roll later. Now, it could be like there's a 1 o'clock, something to that effect, to make sure that it beats that 3 o'clock deadline, but it will not be happening during exact school time. It begins at 3, so there is a chance that it could be backed up to let buses roll to let kids be out earlier. We'll watch this. Clarkdale Community Center in Lauderdale counties, 3 o'clock, Roy, is what we're looking at this afternoon. And again, it could begin earlier. We could have thunderstorms before that. But the hard stuff looks to be beginning at 3. Now, this could be updated as meteorologists study this a little bit more in Jackson with the National Weather Service out of Oklahoma. We're going to be watching that very carefully throughout this. Let me make sure I hadn't gotten any new updates in the last few moments about any of that. Let me go here and double check here. Our latest forecast, let's see here. Partly sunny, cloudy. Thunderstorms may be severe. High in the lower 70s. Temperatures falling to the mid-60s by this afternoon. Southwest winds will range 15 to 20 with gusts up to 20 miles an hour. Rain chance at 80%. Again, that's not the... when you get into reading, this is what the National Weather Service said just a little bit ago. And I'll read you it word for word, and when I say take things serious, this is one of those. A moderate risk for severe storms has been expanded to include the majority of our forecast area. Severe weather is expected with significant severe weather consisting of tornadic supercells producing strong tornadoes, some possibly significant and long-tracked, damaging wind gusts up to 80 miles an hour, golf ball to tennis ball size hail are possible. Surrounding this moderate and covering much of the remainder of the area is an enhanced risk for severe storms. This will be most of Clark County and south of us, and that eastern edge of Lauderdale County and eastern Kemper and eastern Noxubee, which is a level 3. Everything from there back west toward Jackson is a level 4 as we look at this. Again, on that level 3, we could have 70-mile-an-hour winds. What's the difference between 10 miles an hour? 70 is bad. So we have some very potential bad weather. And again, it will cool down a little bit later in the afternoon as we watch this storm closely. I was seeing if they had posted anything else. And again, I just keep getting the headlines. Flooding. The threat is limited. Timing today through tonight. Significant severe thunderstorms and strong tornadoes are likely. Watch that wording. Strong tornadoes are likely with significant long-track tornadoes. Some thunderstorms could also produce, again, they go back to that saying 80-mile-an-hour gust. Now, always keep in mind when we're tracking weather, if you're new to this, when we pull our radar up, I want you to pay close attention later today should it ever pop up. You see these little swirly deals. Doesn't mean that there's a tornado there, but almost every time that it has ever come up on our radar system, it is shown to have strong winds, and there's always damages there. And it's not guaranteed that each time that it's going to be that way, but so far, every time that it's popped up on radar, it's been damaged there. And we'll discuss that when we start going live. We toned that down where you could see a little bit better after we got off on radar. That is where we are. We want you to be very safe. I want you to share my page. Make sure that others know about this. If they have never followed the weather here, we get down and gritty with it, street by street level, to let you know where you live and where that storm is. And that's what we're going to do tonight into these evening hours. You won't have to wonder where something is. We speak very, very common language when it comes to weather here. There's nothing worse than watching the forecast and going, what'd they say? We don't do that. I put it in, I don't know a lot of fancy words, so I can't tell you them, can I? But we'll be here for you. That's, at the end of the day, that's what matters is weather and your safety. We'll be on top of this. A big thank you to all the sponsors that bring us our weather. We could not do this without our sponsors that, you'll see them there on the screen, that run with us every day, that allow us to buy the utmost latest weather equipment to make sure that we're on top of these storms for you. A big thank you to each and every one of those. We'll be here, and I'll be back in 1 hour. We've got a lot of news stories to discuss. We've got a group coming in this morning. You always think of bikers as being folks that ride motorcycles and don't do anything else. We've got some guys coming in this morning that have been collecting toys for kids. They're going to tell us all about that. They'll be here this morning a little after 8. Won't you join us? I hope you will. We'll tell you all about weather, all about the good things, and we'll talk about the train that rolled into town last night. It was huge. The line stretched for a country mile, I understand. We got more on the way. Thank you so much for dropping by. We'll be back with more beginning at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock right here at the Scotty Ray Report. Thank y'all so much, and we'll see you soon as we get this Tuesday and possibly severe weather underway.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: